though, is to keep my islands from sinking in the stream. But you know what? Well, I had to get that off my chest right up front. But seriously, I thought it would be fun for Kenny to talk to you folks a little bit about, you know, his life, because I know they sang all his songs and some of them had tales to tell, but I know Kenny like a lot of people don't. And I know things that I find out stuff every day I didn't know, because you talk about being in the business for 60 years. How could you do that? How old were you when you started?
Well, you know, I had a hit record when I was 17 years old.
A hit record?
In Houston.
In your hometown?
And it went to top 30 in the pop charts.
Really?
And I went and did American Bandstand. But Dick Clark never remembered me being there.
He didn't. Well, you were 17. So was it like a hit around the country or just regional?
It was a doo-wop record.
It was a doo-wop record. How'd it go?
Well, something like that.
No, but you really did start. And of course, I remember you when I had my first television show. Well, yeah. No, I was bigger than a kid. But I had my first television show right after I left the Porter Wagoner show. I had a show called Dolly here. And it's hard to get some, it was not the one that was on ABC. That was later. But Kenny was still with the first edition, or you had just left them. And it was hard to get guests for some country girl trying to do a show, trying to be more pop and all that. But Kenny was nice enough to come be on the show with me. And that's when I met him. And I decided right then that he was a wonderful guy. And a good heart and a good soul. T for Texas, T for Tennessee, that kind of stuff. But I just really, we just kind of hit it right off. But it was only when we got together on the Islands in the Stream song. We're not about to sing that yet because we got some other stuff to do. But tell them how Islands in the Stream came about, because a lot of people don't know how that came about how we got together on that.
Well, Barry Gibb wrote the song with the Bee Gees, and he wrote it. He produced an album for me, and we were out working in L.A. I had a recording studio, and I finally just turned to him and said, "Barry, I don't even like this song anymore." And he said, "We need Dolly Parton." And I said,
"My lucky day."
I said, "Well, I don't know how to reach Dolly." And my managers at the time said, "I just saw her downstairs." I said, "Well, go get her and bring her up." And as only Dolly can, she marched into that studio, and that song never sounded the same.
And it's a great song, but it was only then that we started, after that song became a big hit, everybody just loved us as a duet, and we toured together. We traveled all over the world together, and so we had a lot of fun touring, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah. Do you have some favorite memories of some of our tours?
No.
You don't? Oh, I do. I do remember back in the day, a lot of you know me and Kenny used to be a lot fatter than we are now. We used to, remember? We both were pretty hardy.
That was before Jiffy Suck.
I know. We're going to tell them about what Jiffy Suck is, because Kenny, we'd be on tour and gain weight, and then we'd be off for a few weeks, and Kenny would go get liposuction, and I'd go do my stuff. So he'd come back. He'd be looking like this at the end of the tour because we ate all the time. And then when we'd start back on tour, he'd be just flat as a hoe cake. And I said, "How you get so skinny so quick?" And he said, "Well, I do that new liposuction." That's when it was new then. So anyway, he just thought you could go out and eat a bowl of beans and get it sucked out, I guess. But right before the show. But anyhow, I don't know if any of you know these, and all musicians, all singers, we travel with our little steamers. You got to steam your clothes, and usually they have those little hand ones that, where you steam your clothes. But they came out with one that kind of was on a stand and had that little, the little hook where you really could steam them like professional. And so I had one, and I thought, I'm going to get Kenny one of those for his dressing room. So just as a gift, because it was a good thing to steam our stage clothes. So I had it put in his dressing room when we was on tour. And so Kenny came in the room and he said, "What is that, a Jiffy Suck?" I said, "Yeah, that's your portable liposuction machine." So, hell yeah.
Portable lipo.
So we can just go out and eat some tacos.
She tried to borrow it for 2 months.
But we had great times together, didn't we?
We did. I mean, that's the one thing. She is like this 24/7. No, I'm telling you.
Is that a bad thing?
No. I'll tell you, when we were doing You Can't Make Old Friends, it was a very touching song for us because it was written about our relationship. And we were in there, and I was in the studio just singing my heart out. And I looked over, and Dolly wasn't at her microphone. And she came walking around, and she came in to my studio, put her arms around my neck, and she said, "Kenny, I want you to know something. I could never sing at your funeral."
Well, it was that song about
So
saying...
you're assuming I'm going first.
No, I didn't assume that. You know that part where when he was singing about when St. Peter comes marching in, and I thought, that somebody said, "Oh, that'd be a great song for the two of you to sing at each other's funeral, whoever goes first." And I thought, there ain't no way I could sing. I could never. I'd be so heartbroken if something ever happened to you. So I have to go first. I have to go first. Well, good Lord, you're just retiring. We ain't dying.
I can't
What are we
sing.
talking? It's like amazing the years we've had. I remember some of our fun times. I remember once we were down in Arkansas. Remember when we were touring there? And the Razorbacks, the ball team down there, we were at this big arena, I guess, where they played. And we were about to go. And the way that we had our show staged, well, he would start the song, he would do his show, and I'd come out toward the end of it. And so he would start the We've Got Tonight song, and then I would, after it came to my part, I would just appear on the little stand, and then I would walk down, and then I'd, get applause. Well, anyhow, it was my time to go on. I had on my big beaded gown and my big hairdo and my makeup all done, and I was standing backstage waiting to go on, and I saw this Razorback head, those big hog heads that they wear at the games. Well, I thought...
I think I do have some fond memories of
I
that.
do, because I was thinking, I gotta do this. I saw that old hog head lid over there. I said, I gotta put that thing on and appear at the top of the stage when I come out singing. And so sure enough, I risked it all.
I didn't notice it for 30 seconds. I thought that was just her.
But needless to say, here I come singing, "We've Got Tonight," this big hoghead singing. But anyway, it was fun. So we had a lot of good memories, didn't we?
We've had some great years.
We really have. But you know what? You've just been amazing. I think that what you've done in the business has been great. Now, how many, yeah, I know I'm not your first. You had a lot of girls before me, duet partners. How many girl singers did you have there?
Sheena Easton.
Yeah, Sheena.
Kim Carnes, Dottie West.
Yeah.
You.
And me.
And Ronnie Millsap. All the lovely.
I just did a song with Ronnie. It was like, I told him we need to do an album. We call it The Blonde Leading the Blind. It's like, hey, we could say that about you and me now with your blonde hair. The blondes, dumb blondes.
Yeah.
But anyway, Kenny, I just think you're great. And I'm on.
Yeah.
But anyway, Kenny, I just think you're great. And you weren't my first either. I had some couple of duet partners too. Porter Wagoner was, I had him,
That's
of course.
disappointing.
And then, no, but, you've just been like one of those people.
That is so nice. Thank you so much. It's a very special song.
Well, it is, and that's too sad, ain't it?
Yeah, it
you
is.
know what? I can't think of anybody.
Wait.
What?
I have to talk to these people.
I wish you would.
I have
so
to
I'd
take a
shut
second
up.
and say thank you so much for coming here tonight to help me say goodbye. You guys have been wonderful, and the talent on this show. I sat over there and I said, wow, I forgot about that hit. So it's really been fun for me